Did you know that there can be different types of real estate representation? There's a document called Real Estate Agency. This explains the different approaches and types of how a real estate agent can represent you. There's not just one way. So, for example, we have something called dual representation. That means if I am working with a seller and I'm working with a buyer at the same time, and I list a house, I'm representing the seller and everything is going well. But then my buyer, who's signed a contract for me to help them buy a house, wants to buy the house that I have listed. So that means I would be representing the seller and the buyer. And for me, I feel like that's a conflict of interest because my goal when I'm working with a buyer is to get them the house for the least amount possible. And for the seller, I'm trying to get their house for the maximum dollar. So then how could I represent them at the same time? That feels impossible to me. My state does allow it. It's called dual representation. That means I could represent both of them at the same time in the same transaction, and I would collect commission for both. However, that's not something that I will do in my representation. So when I sit down with the buyer, I will explain my entire approach and that I only will represent exclusive representation, meaning I will not represent both at the same time. If I have a listing and my buyer wants to purchase that house, I will tell the buyer that I'm going to refer them to somebody else in my office that I already trust, an agent that will represent them well without informing me any information about their expectation or what their offer is going to be for the house I have listed. That is how I approach real estate here in Kentucky. You need to check your state to see if they allow dual representation. Maybe you feel comfortable with that and you'll let your agent go ahead and do that. However, if not, make sure that that's a question you ask during your interview process with your agent before you sign a contract.